I was looking for a way to express the times we lived in. I was not, I was very upset with my colleagues going postmodern. Our time is full of movement and change, and this building was the first curvy use of those ideas.
Frank Gehry. He was born in 1929 in Toronto, Canada. The young Frank Owen Gehry, a descendant of Polish and Russian immigrants, had a head full of creative ideas and dreams from an early age, and observed the world of architecture and design with fascination in his eyes. His formative years, full of discovery and new insights, were spent at the prestigious University of Southern California School of Architecture and then at the equally prestigious Harvard Graduate School of Design. After studies that opened his eyes and broadened his horizons, Gehry took a bold step. He moved to Los Angeles, where the heart of creativity and innovation in design and architecture beats fastest. In Los Angeles, the city of angels, Gehry began to create his first works, which were heavily influenced by modernism. Modernist ideals and aesthetics formed the basis of Gehry's early career, during which he gradually built a reputation as an innovator and visionary in the field of architecture. Gehry's career then gained momentum in the 1980s. He introduced the world to his distinctive deconstructivist style, which has since inspired many of his followers. Gehry's uncompromising vision, fresh ideas, and ability to see possibilities where others saw only limitations influenced a generation of future architects and designers around the world. Frank Gehry is not only a master of form, but also a magician of materials. With bravura, he experiments with different, sometimes surprisingly unconventional materials, which give his buildings a unique look and unmistakable texture. His works are not mere buildings, they are living works of art that tell fascinating stories through their shapes and materials. In Gehry's eyes, each building carries a unique story. His buildings are visual poems that reflect his intense understanding of space and his sensitive response to the needs of the users and his dialogue with the environment. Take the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao as an example. This architectural gem is not only home to art, but is a work of art in itself, a symphony of forms and materials that together form a harmonious whole, dancing and pulsating to the rhythm of the city. Its titanium panels envelop the structure in a fluid and organic form that resembles a metal flower unfolding on the riverbank. And then there's Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles, another of Gehry's iconic buildings. Here, mirrored steel panels fold into sophisticated, undulating shapes, creating a space in which music visually resonates and shapes the environment. But Gehry's genius extends even further. His Vitra Design Museum in Germany is another perfect example of Gehry's playful manipulation of form and material, creating dynamic and unconventional spaces that invite exploration. Gehry's work is more than just a visual symphony. His architectural language is so unique and expressive that it appeals at first sight. Every shape, every detail of his work leaves an indelible impression on the viewer, evoking emotions that range from wonder to contemplation. In addition to his unique design and style, Frank Gehry also contributed to technological innovations in architecture. Gehry was one of the first architects to make full use of computer modeling and digital design to create complex and unconventional forms. Gehry's team used special software to design and realize complex structures such as the Guggenheim Museum and the Walt Disney Concert Hall. Gehry often drew inspiration from modern art. One can see the influence of artists such as Picasso, Braque, and Fischinger in his work. Gehry also had the opportunity to work with many of the major artists and designers of his time who influenced his view of architecture and design. Critics often point to Gehry's expensive and complicated designs, which are sometimes considered impractical or too extravagant. The public has had mixed reactions to Gehry's work. Frank Gehry has always responded very openly and honestly to criticism. It is important to reflect the diversity of opinions on Gehry's work and to understand that controversy is often inherent in innovative art and design.
I tell kids that, and I tell my students that they should not look over their shoulder, they should be themselves and find their own way, and that they will slowly realize that they will become the expert in their work, and that nobody else is an expert in their work, and that they will have and so it doesn't matter what somebody else says. I mean, yeah, maybe they won't like it, but at least you're still in control. You're still the expert in your work. And over time, if it's any good, it'll find its way into the bigger picture. And it may be great and not find its way into the bigger, like Van Gogh didn't when he was alive. But who's to say what's good and what's bad in the end? So for one's own life, I think that's where you go. You find your own thing and relate to it. It's your strength, and you can have a pretty good life if you don't look over your shoulder and try and be what the next person is, because you can't be what they are anyway. So that's what I tell kids, and I try to do that myself.
Our journey to the legacy of Frank Gehry ends today. In summary, Gehry is a key figure in architecture, known for his bold designs and innovative use of materials, which influenced a generation of architects. His legacy resonates in the hearts of architecture enthusiasts globally. What is your favorite work by Gehry and why? Share in the comments. Thanks for following, like, share and subscribe for more architecture inspiration. We look forward to your comments and see you on the next video. Get inspired!